Greetings, this is Jim Lindsay. This is a CIS video. In this video, I'll be talking to you about Chapter 1 of our design textbook. And this is a book called the Non-Designer's Design Book. And it's, as you can see on the slide in front of you, it's written by a lady named Robin Williams. This is not the comedian Robin Williams, obviously. I hope you will enjoy this book immensely. I have, and I think that of all the years, and I've been teaching for 14 years now, this may be the best textbook I've ever chosen, in my opinion. And you're welcome to disagree with me on that, but I think this book has so much great information to share, and it does it so succinctly that I very much like this book. And so the purpose of this book is basically to teach us, as non-design professionals, some very foundational ideas that you can then apply to any sort of desktop publishing that you're going to do and make better documents. And I think if you pay attention to what she says in this book, I think that will happen for you. I think you will become a better designer, as a result of absorbing this information that she shares with us. And so the first thing, the main point of the first chapter is to communicate to you what the 4 basic principles of design are, and we'll look at those in just a moment, and then also to communicate to you why it's important to learn this. And the reason for learning it is that once you recognize these, once you understand these principles and can recognize them on a page, you can then start to create documents that look better than if you don't understand them. To make that point, she talks about the Joshua Tree Epiphany. And the Joshua Tree Epiphany, the story basically runs like this. She was given a book at Christmas, I believe, it's Christmas or a birthday or something, and in the book it tells you how to identify different trees. Like, here's a maple tree, here's a weeping willow, here is an oak tree. And one of the trees in the book is this Joshua tree, and it's really a weird looking tree. If you've ever seen one of them, you would have to agree that it looks pretty different than just about every other kind of tree. And so she opens the book and she goes to that page and she goes, wow, this is a really freaky tree, man. I've never seen this before. And so they go on about their day at the party, and as she's walking out of the house where she's been for this event, she looks in the front yard, and this is her parents' house, I believe, and lo and behold, there's a Joshua tree right there in front of her, in the front yard of her parents' house. And then she starts to look up and down the street, and this is a house that her parents have lived in a good long time, and that she's been to many times. And she notices that just about every yard on the street has a Joshua tree. It's like, wow, once I knew what to look for, I spotted these things everywhere. It's almost like the developer of that neighborhood got a bulk rate on Joshua trees, and so when they did the landscaping, they put them in everywhere. And so that's what she wants you to realize about these 4 design principles. And so let's take a quick look at those principles. By the way, there's a couple pictures of Joshua trees, and so I think, again, as you look at those pictures, go, man, they don't even have like regular leaves. They're like these little bushy things, almost like scrunchy balls or some kind of loofahs on the end of the branches, So that's what she was talking about in her Joshua Tree Epiphany. The 4 principles that we want to be able to recognize are the following: contrast, repetition, alignment, and proximity. And we'll spend the next 4 chapters learning in detail what these different principles look like, how to employ them effectively, how to recognize them. And so that's the content of this chapter. And all of this book is very short, very sweet. A lot of pictures in here for examples. What I will do in these recorded lectures is try to spot out, point out a couple of the examples that she gives in the book, but you need to have this book present in front of you, because I will allude to page numbers and say, hey, look at this page, look at that page, because the snapshots I could get on my, actually I used a digital camera to incorporate into this slide presentation. They don't do justice to the fact of what you can see actually on the page. And as you do assignments, what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to critique your own work according to these different design principles. And so if you don't have the book and you're not reading this stuff and you're not learning about what Robin Williams is talking about, you're going to be at a disadvantage. And so that's why I've been prodding you to get this book. So that's the main gist: contrast, repetition, alignment, and proximity. You'll learn in detail about those in the following chapters. Thanks for your time and attention on this chapter, and I look forward to seeing you in the next.